Out of all of the special teams, none are more heavily armed than the Combaticons, a Decepticon Combiner team focusing on heavy military fire and tactics. They are led by the infamous tactician Onslaught, who takes pride in his team and their unique modus operandi, which is basically just blowing up everything inside. The team has 5 members. They are led by Onslaught, a brilliant strategist and tactician. Unlike the rest of the team, he tends to shy away from hands-on action, preferring to watch his plans unfold from behind the scenes, but when they do not go as planned, Onslaught is not one you would want to take on in a fight. He takes great pride in his plans, and if they fail, Onslaught takes a massive blow to his ego. He is a military genius and is fit to lead a team such as the Combaticon. Brawl is the strongest fighter on the team, and absolutely relishes the Autobot and Decepticon war. He is violent and loud, roaring from across the battlefield when he heads into battle. Brawl's rage fuels his fighting ability, though sometimes he can be so angry that he disobeys commands, even from Onslaught. Blastoff thinks of himself as a lot higher than others, always thinking that he is on a pedestal above the rest. Though he takes great pleasure in destroying his opponents from great distances in his Space Shuttle alt mode, Blastoff does not cooperate well with the rest of his team, preferring to listen to his own thoughts, though he is always sure to let the rest of the Combaticons know how lucky they are to have him on their team. Vortex is unstable and potentially a little insane, as he takes a great deal of pleasure in undertaking the role of interrogator of the team, using rather questionable methods to get his answers out of his victims. He isn't one for combat, instead rather using his magnetic grapples that allow him to drag his opponents towards him. He prefers to scare his victims, enjoying the sound of their horrified screams as he drops them to the ground below from above. Finally, Swindle is the con man of the team, and is easily the most unpredictable. He is loyal only to himself, being an expert in weaponry and the dealing of it. Swindle is sneaky and untrustworthy. The other Combaticons have to keep a close eye on him, knowing that at any moment Swindle could sneak away in order to con someone into buying one of his products. He is a coward and has no interest in fighting. He merely joined the Decepticons as he knew it would provide multiple business opportunities for him. Though each of the other Combaticons are dangerous because of their violent outbursts and power, Swindle is just as dangerous in his own way. The 5 can combine to form Bruticus, a combination of all of their crazy personalities. As a result, Bruticus is immensely powerful, considered not only one of the strongest combiners but also one of the strongest transformers of all. His strength is unrivaled and his armor is nigh impenetrable. He is invulnerable to most firepower and any form of radiation. In exchange for his amazing strength, Bruticus is as dumb as they come. He can only follow simple commands, struggling to come up with any ideas of his own, save for destroying everything in sight. However, that is usually enough for Bruticus, as usually when he has ceased his violent rampage there is nothing left to stand in his way. Their first ever appearance in fiction was in the episode Starscream's Brigade of the Generation 1 cartoon, in which they were created from abandoned US military vehicles and the personality components of Decepticon prisoners by Starscream, when he attempted to build his own Decepticon army to rebel against Megatron yet again, though their attack was thwarted by Menacer, and they were all banished to an asteroid to contemplate their life decisions and why the hell they were following Starscream of all people. In the episode The Revenge of Bruticus, the titular character goes on a rampage after his defeat, causing both Optimus and Megatron to decree that Bruticus needed to be destroyed. After they succeed in taking down the powerful giant, Megatron managed to fool his enemy into thinking Bruticus had met his end, when in reality Bruticus has been reprogrammed to serve only Megatron. From there, the Combaticons appeared several other times throughout the Generation 1 cartoon, combining into Bruticus on multiple occasions. Their final appearance in the cartoon was in the Rebirth Part 3, where the Combaticons now found themselves under the command of Galvatron, and departed from Cybertron along with Scorponok. The Combaticons reappeared yet again in the Headmasters cartoon, and had frequent appearances, mainly as Bruticus, in group battles with the rest of the Decepticons. At the end of the show, the Combaticons, as Bruticus, witnessed the final battle between the Autobots and Galvatron, and were never seen again. In the Marvel Generation 1 comics, the Combaticons made their debut in the UK comics Second Generation, released in May 1986, in which Buster Witwicky had a vision about the 4 new special teams. The Combaticons first appeared for real under Megatron's command in issue 24 of the Marvel US comic After Death, in which they, and Megatron, travelled into a virtual game to do battle with Optimus Prime and the Protectobots in order to take over a human power plant. The Combaticons were completely overpowered by their Autobot counterparts, though they eventually won the battle thanks to Optimus Prime committing essentially suicide over the loss of virtual creatures, which is most certainly the stupidest reason Prime has ever died, ever. Aww. The Combaticons didn't have any major appearances after that, though staged an attack on the Throttlebots, in which they were yet again beaten back by the Protector-Bots in the issue used Autobots. The Combaticons finally decided to get revenge against their rivals when they ambushed them in the issue Child's Play, though suffered an embarrassing defeat from Blaster despite the fact that they bested Defensor in combat. They participated in the massive battle between the Autobots and Decepticons on the Moon in the issue Totaled, though were defeated by Blaster and Grimlock, again. Their final appearance was in Primebot, in which they worked with Darkwing and Dreadwind to steal a floppy disk possessing Optimus Prime's personality. The Combaticons appeared in the Generation 2 comic, battling against the Cybertronian forces along with other Transformers. Onslaught grieved when a Cybertronian warrior named Mindset was killed by the Swarm, as apparently he was Onslaught's ancestor. Which, continuity-wise, doesn't make any sense. Retcon! The Combaticons were present for the final battle against the Cybertronians on Earth in the issue Total War, and were ordered to defend the Decepticons' ship from Starscream. Onslaught proudly proclaimed to his team that they would use maximum firepower. Despite this, the Combaticons appeared to be destroyed by the traitorous Decepticon and his Cybertronian army, though it was never shown on panel. Hey, you tried your best, guys. The Combaticons appeared in various Japanese Transformers manga. In the Dreamwave Generation 1 continuity, the Combaticons originated as mere Decepticon warriors, working under Megatron and performing rather small and unimportant operations in the early part of the war. As the war grew more intense, the Combaticons were required to perform more profound duties. They soon came together as a combiner, though were forbidden from ever becoming Bruticus along with every other special team, by order of the Crisis Intervention Accord. This didn't last long, as you can imagine. A bit later, when the war moved to Earth, Starscream initiated the Combaticons in a similar fashion to that of the Generation 1 cartoon, and they helped fight against Sunstorm as Bruticus, though didn't fare too well against the powerful being. Due to their defeat, Starscream began training them. Let's get down to business. Though their training was interrupted by the Predacons. The Combaticons rose to the challenge but were easily overpowered and defeated by Predaking. The Combaticons had a brief appearance in the third Devil Jew's G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers crossover, where they, along with every other Decepticon, were serving under Serpent Oar's command. All of the Combaticons but Swindle were seen battling with the Autobot and G.I. Joe forces. One can only wonder what trouble Swindle got up to whilst his teammates were fighting. The Combaticons had an all-new origin story in the Wings universe continuity, and also played a fairly large role in the narrative. They once served as Autobots and were part of the Elite Guard as a special ops team. In one mission, they were captured by Deathsaurus and his forces, and defected to the Decepticons in exchange for a new combining ability. They used this new power to stage an attack on the Autobots, and many casualties ensued. Metalhawk attempted to reason with the Combaticons, struggling to appeal to the Autobot side that still remained within them, but Onslaught was to have none of it, and put the Autobot down with a single shot, showing only brief signs of remorse. The Combaticons were eventually defeated and detained, though not before crushing Sentinel Major as Bruticus, and I'm sure we can all be thankful for that. In the IDW Generation 1 continuity, the Combaticons participated in the early stages of the war when Megatron was beginning his uprising. Swindle drifted from the rest of the team, becoming a well-known criminal in a very short time. He was continuously hunted by Ultra Magnus, and on one encounter was captured though managed to get away when he traded information for his freedom. The other Combaticons became a very successful unit in the Decepticons, taking on large amounts of Autobots and prevailing. Swindle later got himself into a bit of a scuffle on Earth, leading to his own team that would eventually encounter Rodimus, and form a temporary alliance. He then built Menacer and proceeded to attack the Autobots, though was defeated. The rest of the Combaticons eventually made it to Earth and began working with North Korea. They staged an attack on South Korea, though were defeated by the Autobots and Predacons. They eventually made it back to Cybertron, and Brawl attempted to murder Prowl for Swindle, but was captured. Swindle was subsequently captured also. They were forced to work for the Autobots, though Swindle eventually got himself involved in the Combiner Wars. He reactivated Menacer, though was yet again defeated, and was fatally wounded by Starscream, and seemingly died. The other Combaticons mourn the loss of their teammate by defacing walls with Swindle lives around Cybertron. In Transformers Energon, one of the three combiner groups is the Destruction Team, who are able to combine to form Bruticus Maximus. Though they share the combiner's name, none of the components are part of the original Combaticons. Instead, Barricade takes place as leader, with Blackout, Blight, Kickback and Stormcloud serving as the limbs. They too turn into assault vehicles, and were reactivated by Megatron when he sought to unlock the seal of Super Energon. The Destruction team then served with the Decepticons throughout the show before being destroyed in a final battle against the Autobots. He outlasted his brother Constructicon Maximus, though after annihilating Superior Maximus's limbs, the central component of the Autobot Combiner reused Constructicon Maximus's limbs and used them against his teammate. His spark was crushed and the Destruction team was no more. Though Brawl appeared in Transformers War for Cybertron as a playable character, the other Combaticons did not appear until Fall of Cybertron, in which their personalities were splitting images of their Generation 1 selves. They were the first team subject to Shockwave's experiments, and as a result became the first ever Combiner. The group had a fairly large role in the game, and one is even able to play as a few of them throughout the game, as well as a level where you were able to take control of Bruticus and smash things. Bruticus smash! They also had a brief appearance in the aligned novel Transformers Exodus. Bruticus reappeared once again in Rise of the Darkspark, though in a much more mediocre fashion. Fans were left with a reaction similar to that of Ben Affleck. Didn't stop it from being satisfying and awesome as hell. The Combaticons appeared in the Transformers Legends on a few occasions, each member of the team receiving at least one card. They also all made appearances in Battle Tactics, their appearances being tiny chibi versions of their Combiner Wars selves. Aww. The Combaticons have had more than a few toys over the years. Their original toys were released in 1986 and were sold separately in stores, though a combined Combaticon set was available in Japan and Italy. The toys, like their fictional counterparts, could combine into Bruticus, and each of the 4 limbs were interchangeable. The toys were re-released again in 1993 under the Generation 2 line, sporting a more fluorescent colour scheme. In 2008, an Onslaught toy reminiscent of that of his appearance in the Wings Universe comics was available. In 2009, the Combaticons were released under the Revenge of the Fallen line, in which they were repaints of Energon's Destruction team. They, too, were able to combine to form Bruticus Maximus. In the Revenge of the Fallen video game, there were 3 types of drones that used the term Combaticon, these being Scouts, Snipers, and Warriors. They are some of the most common enemies in the game and are fairly easy to defeat. In 2010, a set was released entitled Combaticons, though featured none of the original members of the group. Instead, Onslaught was replaced with Bombshock, and the other 4 members were mere vehicle drones. The drones' purpose are to serve as super mode drones in order to boost Bombshock's power, and can combine with Bombshock's limbs. Under the Generations line, the Combaticons saw toys of their Fall of Cybertron appearance, where they were able to combine into Bruticus once more. Their designs were fairly similar to that of their in-game appearances. In the Creo toy line, Onslaught, Brawl, Swindle, and Vortex saw a micro-change combiner release, and could combine into Bruticus. Blastoff was released separately. The group appeared numerous times in the Creo manga. Most recently, the Combaticons featured another release under the Combiner Wars line, their figures becoming more modern and updated versions of their Generation 1 counterparts. A Shockwave figure was available that served as a weapon for Bruticus, in reference to the Generation 1 episode The Revenge of Bruticus, in which Bruticus uses Shockwave as a weapon to destroy his own troops. Another re-release figure of this toy was released with a Generation 2 inspired colour scheme, and Takara produced their own version of the figures in their Unite Warriors line. The Combaticons are one of the most unique special teams, and have certainly left their mark on the Transformers lore, having fairly prominent appearances throughout the years. We are most likely to see them again in the future, especially with their new Combiner Wars release. Goldbug is the rebuilt form of the little Autobot Bumblebee. He has multiple origin stories across different continuities. In this video, we're going to be looking at all of the different tellings of how Goldbug came to be.
Goldbug was released in 1987 as a throttle bot, and like his fellow teammates, he featured a pullback motor gimmick. His motto was, "To know others, you must first know yourself." Apparently Goldbug was a philosopher. His tech spec bio states that he has the mind of the Autobot Bumblebee, but new improved body. More serious, assertive, mature than he was. Realizes what others think of him isn't nearly as important as what he thinks of himself. It also claims that he has the best fuel efficiency of his group, claiming that his is 2.5 times better than the best throttle bot. It also states that he can withstand temperatures from negative 150 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, as well as being adaptable to underwater, cold, and hot environments. His first appearance in Transformers fiction was in the Transformers episode 95, The Return of Optimus Prime Part 2, first aired in 1987. Part of a team led by Rodimus Prime in search of the recently recovered body of Optimus Prime, Bumblebee was heavily damaged by a hate plague-infected Superion. To save him, he was rebuilt by a Quintesson scientist in his new body, just as Optimus Prime had been. To go with his new body, he renamed himself Goldbug. Goldbug ended up being infected with the hate plague anyway, though was eventually cured. He didn't have any major appearances after that in the final few episodes of the cartoon, aside from appearing with the Throttlebots to defend the key to the Plasma Energy Chamber in the Rebirth Part 1. They failed. Goldbug had conflicting origins in the Marvel US and UK continuities, causing the split between the two tales temporarily. He first appeared in the Marvel US story All Fall Down as part of the 4-issue G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover. In this, Bumblebee was mistaken for one of the bad guys by G.I. Joe, and consequently he was destroyed by the heavy military fire. Ratchet and Mainframe managed to salvage his body parts and rebuild him into what would become Goldbug. Goldbug had a fair few appearances throughout the run of the Marvel US comics. In the Marvel UK continuity, Goldbug played a fairly massive part in the story Vicious Cycle, where he had assisted the future Autobots with Galvatron in his power siphon. Eventually, Goldbug was left alone to face Galvatron, though received a timely rescue from Ultra Magnus. In the 28th issue of the Marvel US comic Mechanical Difficulties, Blaster and Goldbug were tasked with tracking down the mechanic after he caused more than enough trouble for Ratchet in previous issues. When they realized how terrible their new leader Grimlock was, they quit the Autobots and went solo. Their journey led them straight into danger when Blaster was infected with scraplets in the issue Crater Critters. Goldbug searched the town near him for a cure, eventually discovering that the cure was water. After some help from GB Blackrock, he managed to save Blaster. Goldbug and the Throttlebots were later captured by the anti-robot group RAAT, Rapid Anti-Robot Assault Team, and had their bodies crushed in the issue Used Autobots and Toy Soldiers. Their brain modules were transplanted into remote control cars, however, so that they remained alive, though without a body. They were later placed back into new bodies in the issue Pretender to the Throne, courtesy of Brainstorm. In the issue People Power, Goldbug and another group of Autobots arrived on Nebulos in order to rebuild Optimus Prime. They were damaged by the planet's poison fuel. The other Autobots would be saved by the Power Master process, as would Prime. Goldbug, however, managed to avoid this transformation due to his high fuel efficiency. After this, Goldbug fell victim to an underbase-empowered Starscream, though was later rebuilt yet again as Bumblebee several issues later. In the Marvel UK continuity, Goldbug was instead destroyed by the time-travelling freelance peacekeeping agent Death's Head, when the mercenary didn't want anyone witnessing his presence in 1987. He was then found and repaired by Gretgar. How nice of him. In the Shattered Glass continuity, Goldbug is part of the Autobots' team of Seekers, being the rebuilt form of Bumblebee like his Generation 1 counterpart. Goldbug is a thief and a con artist. When his comrade Drench was executed by Optimus Prime, Goldbug's rank increased, making him one of the higher-up Autobots. He is secretly fearful that he will become obsolete and subsequently replaced, however. Goldbug plays a massive role in the Shattered Glass comics, appearing in a majority of the stories set in the universe. He first appeared in the story Shattered Expectations, released as an April Fool's joke by Fun Publications. In it, he, Jazz, and Grimlock break into the Decepticon laboratory in search of the new and fabled Pretender technology. They are attacked by Starscream and Razorclaw. Though Grimlock manages to best the two, the Mayhem Suppression Squad arrive just in time to save the Decepticon, and then the story is revealed to be a hoax. However, due to positive fan reception, this idea was later expanded into its own universe, in which Goldbug plays a massive part. His character is identical to the one that appears in the Shattered Expectations story later on. In the mobile game Transformers Legends, the Shattered Glass Goldbug appears again in the event simply entitled Shattered Glass. In it, Goldbug, along with Grimlock and Ricochet, attempted to intercept an Autobot battleship launch, where they were distracted by Ravage, whom they began chasing after. He received a level 5 Robot and Alt Mode card, as well as a weapon card. Goldbug is a little more complicated than the IDW Generation 1 continuity. Instead of being converted into Goldbug, Bumblebee is converted into Goldfire, by use of the Goldfire shielding process, as well as using parts from a previous body Bumblebee had donned while on Earth. This resulted in an upgraded version of his previous body. His name remained unchanged, however. Goldfire didn't last long. He made it through the Dark Cybertron crossover, playing a massive part, eventually befriending Megatron, only to be killed off by Shockwave in the final acts. Spoiler alert. A single cannon blast to the chest was all it took to end Bumblebee's life. Surprisingly, he hasn't come back yet. Please come back. Bumblebee, we missed you. Goldbug, however, is a completely different character in the IDW continuity, just as Megatron and Galvatron are. Part of the Throttlebots, Goldbug's only appearance thus far is in Spotlight Metroplex, where he and the other Throttlebots were hunted by Sixshot when they were tasked with keeping the data stored within Metroplex out of enemy hands. The Throttlebots were completely demolished by Sixshot. Goldbug was almost executed at point-blank range by the Phase Sixer when he was saved by the awakened Metroplex. His alternate mode is based off of Bumblebee's from the first episode of the Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye Part 1. He has yet to appear in any future IDW comics. Excluding his original figure released in 1987, Goldbug has had 4 toys. These include one in the Japanese Alternity line, where he was a redeco of a Bumblebee mold released earlier, a figure in the Revealer Shield line, in which he was called Gold Bumblebee due to a loss of rights to the name. He, too, was a redeco of a previous Bumblebee toy. His most recent was released in 2013, where he was conceived as Goldfire under the Generation's Thrilling 30 line. In Japan, a redeco of this figure was released that has the body of Bumblebee and the head of Goldbug. He was simply called Bumblebee Goldbug. How very imaginative. Though Goldbug has yet to make a future appearance in recent years, considering Bumblebee's main role in not only the new Transformers cartoon Robots in Disguise and the Michael Bay movies, we may be seeing more of him in the near future.
In the IDW Generation 1 continuity, Megatron has a plan named the Infiltration Protocol, a carefully staged process of conquering inhabited planets. It involves sending a small team of Decepticons to a planet and operating covertly to tear the planet apart from the inside and eventually taking it over. The Infiltration Protocol has 6 phases. Phase 1 involves gathering intelligence and information regarding the population of the planet. This phase is commenced very early on. Phase 2 involves rekindling old conflicts on the planet, such as wars and other things as such. The Decepticons accomplish this using their facsimiles, artificial duplicates of the members of the planet's population. Phase 3 to 5 has never been specifically described, though we can assume what occurs during these stages. Phase 3 possibly involves the continuance of the conflict stirring, with more direct involvement from the Decepticons. Phase 4 possibly involves attacking destabilized areas of the planet directly. Phase 5 is the point where the Decepticons' presence has been made known. A substage called Siege Mode is initiated during this phase, where the Decepticons produce a massive above-ground fortress to serve as their headquarters. Phase 6 is the most devastating phase of all, the invasion of the destabilized planets and elimination of any possible resistance. Megatron sends in a Transformer known as a Phase 6er, Cybertronians specially bred and trained for this sort of plan. The Phase 6s may arrive in Phase 5 and they commence their work at the final stage. These Phase 6s have a built-in failsafe system that limits their firepower and tactical expertise to prevent them from attacking Megatron to himself. The Phase 6s were chosen from a team known as the Warriors Elite, a team comprised of Heretic, Killmaster, Overlord, Sixshot, and Black Shadow, the latter 3 being the only ones to reach this Phase 6 status. The team was comprised of the strongest Decepticon warriors in existence. The Phase 6s are ultra-powerful bots, made to unleash their wrath upon the worlds in the final stages of the infiltration process, ravaging them to the point that their resources can be harvested for the Decepticons to be used. The Phase 6s were seen initiated in Last Stand of the Wreckers issue 2, where Megatron organised a meeting announcing these 3 bots as new rank. Overlord went against Megatron's orders, before deserting the Decepticon army. This left 2. Sixshot and Black Shadow went on to become feared and legendary Decepticons for many years, gaining quite the reputation. Black Shadow had a long line of achievements, such as the devastation of a planet called Rigel 4 and its population of 3 billion, in which he killed 3 Wreckers and the then leader Hyperion, and his massacre of 3,003 Autobots part of the 113th Battalion, where he managed to best both Ultra Magnus and Optimus Prime. Black Shadow didn't have such a happy ending, however.
After blowing up the Decepticons' fleet of war worlds when he was offered 500 million Shaniks from the Autobots, he was hunted down, tortured, and killed by the Decepticon Justice Division for his treachery. Six-Shot fared better. Like Black Shadow, he ravaged many worlds, until one day he was tempted to leave the Decepticons for the Reapers on the planet Mumu Obscura. As chronicled in Spotlight Six-Shot. He turned down the offer, however accepted it on planet Earth. For this he was deactivated by Starscream and eventually recovered by Galvatron, where he was used by Jhiaxus as part of his plans for the expansion. He was later freed after the Dead Universe crew was defeated, and traded the scientist technology to Megatron in order to continue his Phase 6 of duties. There are many other bots who have been listed to be as powerful as the Phase 6er, such as Optimus Prime, Grimlock, Megatron, Fortress Maximus, Roller, and Tarn. Tarn's an interesting one. While making subtle references to Phase 6's tendencies to rebel while torturing Black Shadow, Tarn has never been officially listed as a Phase 6er, despite clearly being shown to be powerful enough to take one on. This is referenced again when Prowl lists Transformers who could be considered to be as strong as Phase 6s. Tarn was included on this list. A popular fan theory states that Tarn is actually Roller, the Autobot defecting to the Decepticons after disappearing in Alon defending a Spark hotspot. Rodimus and crew's time-traveling antics resulted in the rest of Roller's team having their memories erased, leaving them to forget about Roller's disappearance. Though the Japanese Unite Warriors line throws a big middle finger to this theory, suggesting that Roller's separation caused him to wander through dimensions, crushing souls, eventually attracting the attention of Unicron, the Planet Eater then made him a part of the combined Grand Galvatron, along with Thrust, Breakdown, Cyclonus, and Starscream, rather than converting himself into what would become Tarn. Because Japan. Disregarding the Japanese explanation, the fan theory suggests evidence to Roller being on par with Phase 6s. Prowl conceived a plan to build his own Autobot Phase 6s if the day ever came where it was necessary. For the Decepticons' sake, let us hope that day never comes. Fun bit of trivia for you. In the subtitled version of the first episode of the Transformers Headmasters released in 2011, Six-Shot calls himself a Phase 6 Decepticon officer. While just a bit of erroneous dialogue, it's a neat reference to the IDW comics. In the original Japanese version, Six-Shot claims he is a Decepticon Dino-based ninja staff officer. Not quite, subtitles. Not quite.
これ以上は詰めないな。一旦引き上げる。それではあれか、ミサイル発射装置は間に合ったぞ。トランスフォーム。
Bye.